Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So for starters, let's start off with one, you might be able to hear background music. James is cooking downstairs, he's listening to music. Two, I'm really annoyed with myself. I tried to prep a video like every Thursday, that's the day I normally prep a video, and I plugged mine to go up last Thursday and I accidentally did it for this Thursday. So then it wasn't until Saturday that I realised that it hadn't gone up. I was really annoyed with myself. Yeah, so that one was late, I'm sorry, it still counts. It was in the week. It's up. I'm not shelling myself for that one. Anyway, back on topic. Today we're going to talk about relationships and neurodiversity. I'm sorry, I need to sort this clip out. If I look dishevelled, it's because it's really cold outside at the moment, and that's where I've just come from. So, yeah. Okay. So, we're going to talk about neurodiversity and relationships. So, if you have a neurodiversity, if you are neurodiverse, you might find it difficult to maintain relationships, whether that be friendships or closer relationships. That's because people don't quite understand the issues we go through, and they might distance ourselves thinking that either we're being awkward or weird or we're deliberately not texting them back in time, and people misunderstand, which is understandable, but if you tell someone beforehand, it can help. So, yeah, that's why we sometimes have bad relationships. Also, there are many websites, by the way, that you can go to for specific neurodiversities. So they have like a dyspraxia one, a dyslexia one, an ADHD one, an autism one, and then everybody writes in the comments things that they struggle with. I looked on the dyspraxia one when I first was diagnosed with dyspraxia. It was actually really helpful because people say how they've found things that they've found helped and things that they also have issues with, and then you can look at it and say, oh, that's something I can relate with. I also have this issue, and hopefully people will write below saying, I've had this issue, this is how I've overcome it. It can be helpful. If you want to know, I'll link those below. The first one is clumsiness. Yeah, I think most neurodiversity traits, clumsiness can come in there somehow, whether that be clumsy because you leave your phone in random places, which is a big thing for people with like ADHD. They typically leave things places and they don't know, or clumsy as in dyspraxia, where you typically trip over and you're clumsy and you drop things. There's a lot of things where clumsy comes into it that people for some reason get annoyed by, and I'm not going to lie to you, if they can't understand that you are clumsy, I don't think that person is right for you. It's not something that you can control. Surely everyone knows that being clumsy isn't you on purpose, but I've literally met people that hate clumsiness, and I don't get that. And as someone who is, I won't say I'm particularly clumsy, I'm more, I don't know, I just do things that are a bit silly and people don't get that. And it drives some people insane. If they can't stand that part of you, then I feel like maybe they're not the right person for you. Because really, clumsiness is like the top of the surface of everything below when it comes to neurodiversity, because that's a really small one. So if they can't stand that, then they should leave. I wrote, because I write notes on what I want to say, so in this I wrote that I'm clumsy in the way of I walk into people and things, and in new situations I find it really stressful, and I find if I'm in a place where I don't know where there's a lot of people, I will physically just hold James's shoulder and he like has to lead me places because I get so like stressed out by it, and I feel like some people don't understand that, some people would be a bit weird about it. And there was once before when I went out and was out with a group of friends and I put my hand on someone else's shoulders to walk through the crowd, and my at the time boyfriend was really annoyed that I'd done this, even though it was just so that I could get through the crowd without having to try and figure my way out, and it caused like a commotion. Yeah. forgetfulness. If you have a relationship, as I said, friendship or more, there could be things that you're meant to do, or, you know, like anniversaries and stuff that you need to remember, but it's not that easy to remember them for a lot of people, no matter for people with a neurodiversity. And I think you need to give them, you know, a little hint. Sometimes I forget things, and I think the best way to do this is, as a person that has forgetful friends and family members, I just remind them. It's that simple. If I have made plans to go out with you on Saturday, I will text you on Friday saying, are we still going? I won't just wait until Saturday morning and then be like, where are you? Because I know they're forgetful. I know they won't turn up, or I know they won't turn up on time, which is why I tell them 15 minutes earlier than I actually want to be there, so that we all end up at the right time. Yeah, maybe just hint to them, say like, you need to maybe remind me more often. You know, I feel like that's just something that people learn over time. If it annoys you that much, you will find a way to get around it. As I said, like, I always tell people, or I will always tell them the wrong time, because then they're on time to my clock. This is one that I haven't put on there, but it kind of links in with forgetfulness. I have really bad a sense of direction, and also I have really bad short-term memory, so I honestly can't remember what I said at the start of this video. I know I should have said, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm aware that I didn't say that because I always effing forget it. But if you're having a conversation with me, if you ask me what you said at the start of the sentence, like at the start of the conversation, likely is I've forgotten it, unless I've written it down, because I forget. And some people just don't get that. I wrote down here saying that James doesn't understand that I can walk into a shop one way, and then when I come out, I'll forget which way I need to go. The next one is hyperfocus or lack of focus. So this can be hard in any relationship, in the sense of finding things that you both actually like. But imagine if you really love films, if your partner even really loves films, but you find it hard to sit for a program, it's going to be really hard for you to then sit for a film, which is sometimes 3 times as long as a program. So I think you either need to find something like shorter that you can both do, or you can't really. The thing is, you can compromise, but you're going to end up switching off halfway through anyway and finding something else to do. And me and James do this a lot. We like sit and watch films, but then halfway through we'll both be on our phone, or James will be on his. James is always on his phone when watching a film, and it drives me insane. So I typically don't ask him to watch films with me anymore, because I don't see the point of us watching a film together if he's either going to play on his phone or try and talk to me through it. Can't stand it. Don't talk to me when the phone's on. I want to know what's going on. But James does. James is the kind of person, he wants to have a full, in-depth conversation about one sentence said, and he'll talk for like a good 20 minutes about it, and then they would have passed over everything that I wanted to know. So you either need to be accepting that you're probably going to have to watch the film or program by yourself afterwards, or don't watch it with them. Me and James now watch together more food programs. I'm not gonna lie, typically food isn't my thing. I couldn't really care about food. I'm not interested in cooking. Well, I like baking, but I can't cook. I'm not interested in cooking. I don't really care that much about the production line of food, but we watch a lot of things about food now, and then James can have like full-on conversations, and I can get involved because I know about food. I just don't really care. Yeah, it's a good way to compromise. We better spend time together. It's interesting. It is interesting. I can't lie about that. A lot of food programs are interesting, but they just make me really hungry. Yeah, and it's something we can do together. And I don't get annoyed that he's talking all the way through it, because it's not something that I'm so interested in or so dedicated to that it would annoy me. We used to watch different things, like we watched something on like we watched that program about social media, like how social media affects you, and James literally talked the whole way through, and I was like, mate, I wanted to know what that guy actually had to say about the effects of social media. I didn't want to hear you talk about it. So then I've put it back on my list of things to watch because I have no clue what happened in it because Jim spoke for a lot of it. But which is fine, like I don't mind Jim's vegan, as I said, I just now need to watch it again without him so actually know what happened. On the hyper-focus, lack of focus thing, did I even touch on that? Anyway, is a bad for thoughts. When you get into a negative space, it can be really hard to get out of it because you hyper-focus on it, and this happens a lot with loads of people. And the thing is, people, like, when you're really close to someone, they typically notice these things, and it can be hard for people to understand why you're feeling like this or what's made you feel like it. And sometimes you can't explain because you don't really understand yourself, and it can be really hard to talk to the person that you're with about these things. And sometimes it is easier to just talk to someone else, or sometimes you just don't talk at all. I'm honestly the kind of person, I won't talk to anyone about it. I'd rather just feel miserable by myself than sort of feeling like I'm burdening a friend with my issues, which I think is really stupid, and I'm sure that my friends wouldn't ever mind me saying it to them, but I always just feel like I can't talk to people. So I think the thing is that, like, if you're with a partner, the chances are they will know when you're in this mode. James is anyway, and hopefully they can help you, because sometimes I just need to be told a million times, apparently, are you okay, until I actually say, no, I'm not, which is what James does. And sometimes you need that friend, that person to do that, or sometimes you need to find a separate friend that you can talk to these things about and have complete, like, once it's spoke about, is it, you know, like, open it there and it's all free. So yeah, you need to find like a buddy to talk to. It can be hard, like, being with someone knowing that they're talking to someone else about these things as well, I think is quite hard, because they feel like, why aren't you talking to me about it? Like, why can't you confide in me about these issues? But I think it's just one of those things that you need to explain to the other person that it's nothing to do with you, it's just they understand what I'm going through more than you, and they can help with the issue. You know? Yeah. I'd like to point out at this point, I should have maybe said this at the beginning, I'm not like a professional. I don't really have any medical thing behind this. I'm just hoping that this video will help at least a couple people in their life with having neurodiversities. Being stressed and tired, this is the worst, because I don't think, like, I quite often after work feel sleepy, like actually I could fall asleep if I don't have a coffee after work, kind of sleepy. And it doesn't really make any sense because I literally just sit at a desk and type away all day, yet I'm exhausted and my brain feels like it cannot compute anything. And some people just, if you haven't gone through that yourself, it's really hard to understand why something that takes no energy has made you so exhausted. And I think that's just something that they need to realise, what makes you like that. For instance, as I said, work typically makes me very exhausted. Some people, like school, make you exhausted, or listening to someone talk. It can be obviously a range of different things. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, if someone is talking directly to me for a really long period of time, draining. It's because my brain feels like it has to be like, obviously, because if they're talking just to you, you can't like think like something completely different because you miss part of the conversation then. So my brain is constantly being like, focus on this person, focus on this person, focus on this person. And then like after like, oh god, like half hour of someone talking to me, I'm literally like, I need to go to sleep now. I cannot concentrate on one thing for this long. I feel like a lot of people get this. But yeah, yeah, that's it. I don't know how else to explain it. Sorry. Okay, this is my last one, and that is having too many thoughts in your brain. So if I'm angry, trying to have an argument is the most annoying thing, because I can think one thing and my mouth will say another thing. Yeah, it's just really annoying. I can say, like, I can go to say something, I can't even think of anything to explain it now. My brain doesn't process words quite as fast. My mouth can't, like, get the words out as fast as I want to, and when they do, they're not always the right one, like, kind of how I get my fours and my sevens mixed up. I can be saying a phone number, and they'll say, like, 444, and I'll say 777, and I'm like, no, that's the wrong one. But when you're in an argument, you can't say the wrong thing, and be like, oh no, that's not what I meant, because it's quite heated, and you're back and forth, and they don't get that, and then they're like, oh, that doesn't make sense, and it's really hard. And also, when you get angry, like, if, like me, I can't say for anyone else, but when I'm angry, my immediate reaction, because I can't express in words quick enough what I want to say, I just burst into tears, basically, because I literally cannot get my point across. I've never actually explained this to James, so this is why I can't. He always says this when we have an argument, like, why can't you just talk and have a conversation about it? And the answer is, because I physically can't. My words will not come out right, and they will not come out properly, and that frustrates me when I'm already angry. Stressful. It's getting me angry thinking about it. Yeah. So it's hard to put into words what I want, and because of that I get stressed, and because we're in an argument I'm stressed, and because I'm stressed my words are getting more muddled, which is making me stress more, and because we're arguing about it, that's stress, and it's just a giant loop of horrendousness until I burst into tears and storm off. And I did it the other day. I literally just burst into tears, threw my knife and fork because I was eating, and I went upstairs and had a cry. And then when I thought about what I actually wanted to say and a reasonable sentence of how to say it, I came back down, still quite angry, so it still was quite shouty, and explained what I wanted to say, because it just doesn't come out properly when I'm angry, if that makes any sense. Yeah, that's just one thing I feel like will never change though, because even though James understands that I can't get my words out, when you're both in an argument, you don't think about, oh, she can't get her words out properly, you just think, oh, what the F is she on about, you know? And I think, so the best thing I think is just try and explain to a person what you're having issues with. So if they like get annoyed with you being late, just say like, I cannot help it, it is a symptom of my issue, my neurodiversity. I won't say issue, it's a bit rude. My neurodiversity, this is part of my personality trait. I will always be late, I will always stutter on my words, I will always forget where I am. If you can't deal with that, then this relationship like cannot go on, really. Maybe not say that. Like, you know, they need to realise that this is something, it's not going to change. It's not like all of a sudden I'm going to get my words perfect, because it's never going to happen. I stutter all the time, I always get words wrong, and if you can't deal with it, then you can't deal with me, really, you know? So, yeah, that was it. As I said, I'm not a doctor, so, or anything in the, like any form of medical professional. So if you have like, okay, sorry, my video cut out right at the end of the video, so I'm just going to say don't forget to like and subscribe. Sorry it took so long. I got so rambly, my camera got bored. See you hopefully in next week's video. Thanks. Goodbye.